Hello, my name is Michael. I am a pre-sales engineer, solutions architect, sales engineer. There's a lot of titles for what I do. Basically, I'm in tech sales, but more on the technical side. And anyways, today I wanted to share a little bit about some of the things that I picked up over the past 5 years being in the field. I've been in small startups, organizations. I've been at large enterprise corporations. I've seen a lot in those 5 years, and I'm hoping to share that knowledge with y'all. So with that said, I've actually collected the 5 rules or laws of pre-sales or sales engineering, and I wanted today to start with the first one, and I will list it right here. So the first law of sales engineering is know your audience. So this is a pretty basic one, and I just made a video a couple of days ago talking about how if you don't have a catered demo to your customer, you're better off just sending them to YouTube, which I still believe in. But this idea of knowing your audience is super, super important. This is why in the pre-sales world, we're really interested in discovery. And all that discovery is really is asking good questions, right? So how do I know my audience might be the next natural question. The first answer to that potentially is asking your AE. This also kind of applies to like asking your sales team. So typically how it works in companies that I've been at, and this is like for these tech SaaS-based companies, is an ADR or a BDR. This is just somebody who's doing a lot of cold calling. They're fielding these leads from a variety of sources. They could be partners, they could be warm leads, they could be from marketing. Anyways, they're sourcing these leads from customers who are interested in your company's product. And then from there, they're being fed to an AE who's digesting them, qualifying them, and then eventually assigned to an SE, which is my role, right? So customer says, I want to learn more about your security products. The SDR does basic qualification like, I don't know, are you guys on-prem? Are you in the cloud? What's your existing tool stack, blah, blah, blah. The AE gets that information and says, hey, Michael, I got a customer who wants to do XYZ. Please, have a conversation with them. And so I'm getting information from my AE about the customer. And then based on that, I'm talking to the customer and asking them more clarifying questions. That typically is in the form of a discovery. And then ideally after discovery, then we would provide them a catered demo. That's the perfect example, right? But it doesn't always work like that. But the first place to get information, right, is from your AE. Now, if the information that you have from your AE or the SDR isn't great, the other option is to use the internet, which seems pretty obvious. This could be AI, this could be Google, but just a way for you to find more information about your customer. Now, this might be outdated, but that's okay. Customers love to correct you when you're wrong. But I've had situations, especially in the enterprise, where we wanted to learn about maybe the developer team at company X. We would go in and we'd say, okay, let's go on their careers page for company X and look for developers. And on their careers page, they list the required technology that the developers have to use. Maybe they're using C++ or Java, or if it's like infrastructure, it's like Ansible or Chef or Puppet. You can get information about what they're using by their job requirements, right? So that's an easy way to get information about a company. I have used AI in the past to say, hey, tell me all these things about this company. When were they founded? Where were they? Did they just have a funding round? Those are really good tools to get more information about your customer that they haven't given to you. But just keep in mind that the information might not be always 100% up to date. And that's kind of where this last question comes in. If all else fails, you can just ask the customer, which seems pretty obvious. This is the discovery part, right? So you don't know something. Maybe you say, hey, I saw your developers use C++ on a career page. Is that true? They can correct you and say, no, we use Python, or no, we use C#, right? Those are ways for you to get validation on what your customer does. And something that I wanted to kind of draw out for y'all is the idea of like diving into a customer's question. So a lot of times in the SE world, we will start by going really, really deep. And then just imagine this is like, I don't know, this is details, right? We're going really deep in the details very, very quickly without having any information from the customer. Now, this is really problematic because we make a lot of assumptions about what the customer is doing, number one. Or number two, we just sell our product and not the value that it provides, right? So you can't provide value to a customer if you're only talking about a product, and you can only sell a product if you don't know information about the customer and what they're using, right? So the ideal way of working this is not like that, but it's basically waiting on the customer, and they will show something that we like to call, I can't draw an arrow. They will show interest, and based on the interest, then we as sales engineers, I'm still laughing at my arrow, we'll dive down into the details, right? So the more interest that we have on this side, right here, there's a lot of interest, then we'll dive down into the details. And then what might happen is you'll have even more interest from the customer, right? And now we're going even deeper, right? And so this could be another arrow where we go down into the details again. We're off the screen right now. But you see the point, right? You're not jumping into a situation and providing a lot of details unless you get interest from the customer. Now, building interest with the customer and getting them to talk to you, that's a whole nother story, right? But this illustrates you want to be receptive to the customer and providing detail and context when that's requested. So I hope this was useful to you in the SE world. Knowing your audience is the first rule, law, whatever you want to call it, of sales engineering. I'll be making more to flesh out the rest, but I hope this was helpful to y'all. Take care.